Hello everyone, my name is Dutch Owen. I am the creator and the lead designer of the FSCaptain add-on for Microsoft Flight Simulator, which also runs under Lockheed Martin Prepared version 2. Welcome to part 2 of our FSCaptain demonstration flight, where you're going to be riding alongside me on an FSCaptain managed flight under Flight Simulator X. We're going to be doing some interesting things today, and I hope to make for an interesting video for you, but I can't guarantee anything that will happen. This is not scripted. We hope to make a normal, average flight, but anything can happen, from weird flight simulator problems to me being tongue-tied to weird glitches. We'll see. We are testing some beta software, FSCaptain 1.6, and we're hoping that that goes totally normally. I would like to mention in this video, before we get started, that you may have seen part 1 of this video series. You may not have. If you haven't, that's perfectly okay. Part 1 isn't necessary to understand and enjoy part 2. Part 1 is all about planning on the ground before we got going, so flying in that. If you're interested in the planning process for this flight but haven't seen part 1, you can search for it under the same name, except it will say part 1 instead of part 2. I have a cold today and for the last few days, so I may wheeze or sniffle or cough a little bit. I'll try not to. If I do that, I apologize in advance. I'm very sorry. Having said that, let's get going. I will make a brief mention of the FSCaptain add-on, and I will make a brief mention of the other add-ons we'll be seeing in this video. FSCaptain is an add-on for Flight Simulator. There's a free, fully functional demo at FSCaptain.net. It provides a lot of the things that Flight Simulator left off. It provides an airline for you to fly for, your own or an existing airline. You can create your own. It provides a career in which you can advance up the ladder of success by flying professionally, according to company policy. But you're not limited to the type of airplane you can begin with. You don't have to start with a tiny airplane and work your way up. You can start with whatever you want. It provides a dispatch office to help you plan your flights and fly them professionally. You'll be communicating with that. We'll see that on this flight. It provides a flight crew, a cabin crew, both to help you out. The cabin crew will help manage the passengers. We provide passengers for passenger flights, cargo for cargo flights, and a little bit of both. They're often mixed up. Often cargo is carried on tax flights. The passengers will react to the way you fly. They will critique you or compliment you, and that will affect your score for each flight. They will pay attention not only to the way you fly, they will pay attention to the environmental variables like the cabin temperature and pressure and rate of change of the pressure. We'll talk more about that as we go. The one thing we hope we don't see a demonstration of today, but maybe we will, it'll make our video interesting, is the hazard enhancement that FSCaptain does. Flight Simulator has a number of hazards, icing, thunderstorms, but they are very weak and not very dangerous. In the real world, they're something to be avoided, to be careful about, and plan for. FSCaptain enhances all of these things so that failure to pay attention to them like a real world pilot would do will get you in some serious trouble. We implement mechanical failures, bird strikes, cabin emergencies. All kinds of things can happen to us, but they happen rarely, and if one of them happens on the flight today, it'll make it a little more interesting than I'm planning on. It'll be fun. However it goes, you will be riding along and see. So, let's get started. Before I go, just a little bit more about the add-ons we're using today. I want to give full credit to all of them. We are flying a Microsoft FSX with the DX10 preview mode. We are using radar contact 4.3 to provide our ATC services. We won't be hearing from the Microsoft default ATC. We will be using GSX, Ground Services X, from FS Dream Team to provide our ground services. You can see the catering truck driving around behind us. They've already catered up the airplane for us. We will be hearing some sounds from the AccuFeel add-on. Our weather, what there is of it today, and there's not going to be too many clouds. It's a very clear day here in North Carolina, December 13th on a Saturday, but there will probably be a bit of turbulence in the air that will be provided by Active Sky next. And last but not least, the add-on that we'll be flying here is the MilViz 732. That is 737-200. a really fine implementation of retrojet that I really enjoy, and it's very historically accurate. We have it configured just like it would have been in the days when Piedmont was in charge of things. I'm going to connect the jet port to our airplane as is necessary. And we're going to go ahead and jump into the cockpit and get started, folks. I've done enough talking. We have jumped into the cockpit, and let me give you fair warning here, that'll probably be the last time you see any outside views of our airplane until we actually arrive at our destination. We might take a look after we would logically get off the airplane, but the way I fly Flight Simulator, I try to be immersed in what I'm doing. Outside views break that immersion for me because they're not possible in real life, so I rarely do it. You probably won't see more outside views from me on this flight. Alright, it's time to get serious and get started. We'll get our 737 checklist and take a look at our timing. Our flight is scheduled today. If you saw part 1, you'll remember that our scheduled departure time is 3:38 in the afternoon. It is 3:20 right now, so we're going to have to get moving. We've got a little less than 20 minutes to do everything we need to do. Fortunately, the airplane's been powered up for us. Take a look at the MilViz 732 overhead. See that power supply, galley power is up. Everything appears to be set up correctly. We will pay particular attention to the cabin temperature, which is over here on the right hand side. I'm moving the mouse cursor over it. It reads in a normal range. It's between 60 and 80, so it's about 60 and 80 Fahrenheit. That's a good temperature range, about 72. That's good. It's a chilly day here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and what we want to do is we want to be sure our cabin is warm for the packs once they board. That may sound silly to you if you're used to Flight Simulator, because in your average Flight Simulator flight, that gauge is nothing more than an indicator on a panel, which you can safely ignore. FSCaptain does not make it so easy to ignore these things. FSCaptain is monitoring the cabin temperature as indicated on that gauge. It's monitoring the cabin pressure, the rate of change. It's monitoring whether the galley power is on or not. It's monitoring a lot of variables that are coming off this panel in the MilViz 737 and determining whether your packs are happy with your performance and comfortable back there. So you want to keep them comfortable. First thing I'm going to check is to make sure that the cabin's warm. If it's not, I'm going to turn on some AC and warm it up, but it's already been done for us. So we're in good shape. Alright, let's begin our process here. Since we have been powered up, our altimeter is pretty much set correctly and everything. Let's take a look at the FSCaptain FCDU. That's the Flight Communications Data Unit. I will do that by calling it up with the key combination that calls up that gauge. The FCDU has an external version that you don't have to put into an aircraft and can run on even on a different PC. We're using the internal version, which is installed as a gauge in our 737. I hit Shift 7 and it brings up this gauge. And here it is. It's looks like an FMCU, and FMC, sorry, and it acts a lot like an FMC, but it's actually an ACARS device that we will be using to communicate with our company dispatch office, and also to give instructions to our cabin crew and flight crew. It is the communications device we use for FSCaptain rather than have pull-down menus. There is an FSCaptain pull-down menu, but we don't like to use it. It breaks immersion. Turn on our device and take a look at it. And we have software version 1.06, the one we're beta testing. We are detecting the MilViz 737-200, so FSCaptain is aware of this add-on. It knows about a lot of add-on aircraft, particularly the popular ones. The important thing there is it will, because it knows about them, it can read some of the gauges that normally, and controls that are not normally used in Flight Simulator, such as cabin temperature and galley power. It also knows about GSX, so it'll be aware of what we're doing here. The clock is moving. We don't have a lot of time. We're going to keep moving. We want to take off. We want to at least push back from the gate by our departure time, 3:38. So let's log into dispatch by clicking on the login thing. We hear the door open behind us.
Good afternoon.
And there's our First Officer, Trav, telling us good afternoon. He will be assisting us on the flight. He will be doing a lot of things, but mostly giving us advice if we forget things, and managing some things for us to make our flight a lot easier. He's not there to make trouble. He's there to help us out. We can verify that we're starting Flight 12 to RDU. That's our first flight of the day. During the planning, we planned a 3-leg flight, and this is our first leg. Schedule department, departure 15:38, arrival 16:11. We are not obligated to do cabin service. This is going to be way too short to start cabin service. We're happy. We know we're logged in, and the dispatch office is aware of the correct flight, so we'll proceed. This gives us a last chance to look at Flight 12's parameters. The departure and arrival times, its distance, the block ETE, payload, fuel. We can revise these numbers if we want. If we want to ask for more time, we can ask for more time. I'm going to ask for 1 more minute to demonstrate that for you. I'm going to do a revise. We currently have 49 minutes. I'm going to increase that to 50 minutes. Give us a 1 minute cushion. Uplift. Press exact. And our block ET time estimated is 50. That's an important number. We're going to be obsessing a little bit over there as we fly because we do not want to be too late or too early on this flight. That done, we're going to go ahead and load up the aircraft by clicking on normal load.
Captain, we're ready for boarding.
Alright, having clicked on that, our flight attendants let us know they're ready to load. And we're ready to come in. As long as they're happy, I'm happy, so I'm going to come in and fly. And it transmitted an update to our dispatch office and their computers and perhaps their eyeballs, their simulated eyeballs, took a look at it and decided that we are indeed cleared for load. Everything's good. Airplane is configured, powered up. The gate is ready. The passengers are ready. Let's go for it. So it says we are cleared for load. If it didn't say cleared for load, we would have to fix some things. But we know what we're doing here. We've done this a lot before, so we're cleared, so we will go ahead and proceed. When we proceed, the load process will start, and I'll talk just briefly about that. And then we will get into the business of getting this flight ready to go. We're going to be trying to do that while the packs are loading. The FSCaptain load process has started. The fuel has already been loaded, 10,000 pounds. We can verify that on these needles. And the packs are starting to file into the aircraft. They'll be greeted by our flight attendants. You'll probably see some laughing and mumbling and stuff in the background as this goes on. But we're going to close down the FCDU for the moment. We're just going to close the window and get on with the business of flying this airplane, getting set up for flight. The first thing we need to do is call out our ATC services to get a weather briefing.
Charlotte Douglas, local ATIS information, uniform, winds 360, adds to 0, visibility, sky clear, temperature 4, dew point -3, altimeter 3036, landing and departing, runway 36, left, advise delivery of information, uniform.
That sounds perfectly normal. I hear a baby crying in the background. We have kids on this flight, typical. I'm gonna go get clearance from ATC now.
Delivery Piedmont 12, ready for clearance to Raleigh Durham Airport with uniform.
Start dialing in already. It's going to be around
Piedmont 12, here to the Raleigh Durham Airport, F5, climb and maintain 6,000, expect 17,000, within 10 minutes after departure, walk 2136, departure frequency 128.32.
Alright. We have our altitude as anticipated, 6,000, sometimes that varies. And our squawk code is 2136, so we will do a little reback.
Clear to the Raleigh Durham Airport as filed. Climb and maintain 6,000. Expect 17,000. Squawk 2136. Departure 128.32. Piedmont 12.
Looks like we got that right. Let's
Piedmont 12, reback correct.
reposition ourselves in the pilot seat here. Look down at our controls and continue with our checklist. Alright, we need to verify that the PDCS computer is on takeoff, so we get our EPR ratings correct for the 732. Our navigation parameters need to be set. We're going to be doing a little FMC. This is an early 80s style FMC, very early. It doesn't work like the ones you're used to probably. We'll turn it on, it'll do a little boot, and we will get our navigation parameters in there. The way we do that is, or the easiest way to do that, is to load the standard flight simulator flight plan for this route, which I'm going to be doing here in a second. You hear our ambient music in the background. That's to relax the passengers and get them in a good mood. Our flight plan is loaded into Flight Simulator. We can do a cross-fill, and our little FMC here will have our flight plan, which is a very simple one. Charlotte, Sandhills VOR, RDU VOR, and then the RDU airport. Like most Piedmont flights, this is a very short one. It's going to be up and down pretty quickly, so you won't be spending a lot of time in the boring cruise phase of this flight. We need to do a little reconciliation of our weights, and we're going to do that right now. We will bring up the Flight Simulator keyboard and press the briefing button. And we will get a copy of our dispatch release document from our dispatchers, and we will use some of the numbers here to reconcile the weights. We're going to take a look at the number of passengers today. We have 119 passengers, so we're going to put that in here. Our cargo weight in the summary down here is 53.55, so we're going to put that in here.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Alright, that's good news. Our cabin is secure. All passengers have loaded up. We're going to press the key to get the jet port over there to back off. And we're going to take a look at the gross weight versus the planned takeoff weight. It should be about 1,000 pounds less on here than it is on here, and that accounts for the flight attendants and the flight crew. The planned takeoff weight is about 105. This is about 104, so we're right on target, so we're reconciled. We're in good shape with that. Trav tells us that our cockpit door is locked and secured, so that's been taken care of. How are we looking on timing? We've got about 8 or 9 minutes to get pushed back from the gate, so we're doing okay. Passengers getting settled back there. We can close up this little FMC. It will not fly the airplane for us, but it will help us along the way if we choose to use it. Alright, continuing with our checklist, we are going to set up our navigation parameters, which will be taking a look at the nav log today. 111.8 is the first VOR we're flying to, heading up 097. So I will put 097 into the course line for my horizontal situation indicator here. And if you can't really see that, it's pretty dim. I'll bring a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, and I will set the VOR into the radius. 111.80. Sandhills VOR. So navigation parameters are set. We need to set our speed bugs. We're about 105,000 pounds. I can look here at my chart, which Piedmont provides to us, and find that our takeoff should be at about 140 knots for V1, 140 for V2, and about 150. For VR and 150 for V2. So those are the approximate speeds for our 737 today, so I set our speed bugs. Need to go up here at the top and check to make sure all doors are closed. They are correct. I will take a look. Yes, our jetway is moving away from the airplane. We don't want to tear that up when we back off from the gate. And we want to check to make sure our anti-collision light is turned on, because we're going to be starting our engines here in just a little bit. That is the end of our checklist for this point. We're going to get authorization to push and start. And
Ground, Piedmont 12 at 23, ready to push.
I'll let them talk.
Piedmont 12, cleared to push. Start at your discretion. Contact ground when you're ready. On 121.8.
Ground on 121.8, Piedmont 12.
Alright, my procedure is as soon as I ask for push and start, I also take a look at the FCDU, the FSCaptain CDU, and see that everything is properly loaded and it says ready to proceed. If it does, then I go ahead and proceed. When I do, I get cleared for departure, flight 12 to KRDU, so that means dispatch. My dispatch office agrees with me that we are cleared for departure. And the first officer agrees too. He says we're ready to kick the tires and light the fires, which is his usual phrase he uses. Pretty used to this guy by now, although he occasionally says different things too. I'm going to close down the FCDU. We have authorization to push back. I'm going to ask GSX to go ahead and push me back. We'll be turning around to the left. That'll point us toward the runways we're going to be taking off. Back in the back, Heidi, our flight attendant, is welcoming everybody on board. We'll be hearing some ambient music starting off. This is a little happier tune. It's ambient.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Yep, they're ready for pushback. The ground guys will spend a little time getting the ear pins inserted and all the rest of it. Our ambient music is not too exciting to music fans, but it's designed to make our packs feel happy and secure.
Launching gear.
In a moment, they're going to be giving us a request to take off our brakes, and we will start that. Then we'll be doing the engine start procedure.
Departure check completed. Light has been inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
I have released the brakes. They are pushing us back, and they have authorized us to start engines. Because time is precious, we always try to get as much of it as we can, so we want to be completely ready when the clock starts. So we're going to start our engines during the pushback. A few switches. Typical for the 737-200, and we come down here and monitor our rising M1 on the left-hand engine, M2 on the left-hand engine. Make it to 20 feet of fuel and hope it doesn't explode. I've never had an engine explode on me, by the way. I have occasionally had them fail to start, which is very annoying. Deboarding the passengers and getting maintenance come out is not fun. Sometimes it has to happen. Alright, we appear to be stable. I'm going to start the right-hand engine. Start the mighty JT8D jet engines on the 737-200. Into is 20 right about now. Here comes the fuel. And there goes the engine. Nice normal start, it looks like. No red lines, no crazy fires, nothing weird happening on the right-hand engine. So. Engine start procedure on here is pretty good. We have an airplane staring us in the face that's we're going to have to taxi around. I can see that right now. And we got a lot of sun glare coming in. That's okay. We'll handle both those situations. Looks like a US Air 737 AI airplane. Typical AI pilot there. Comes right up to us when you move on around us. Alright, the after start checklist. We'll begin that just about as soon as
Set parking brakes.
we set parking brake. Alright, after start checklist. Probe heat on. Engine hydraulic pumps are all on. Pack switches, we will reconfigure our entire air conditioning setup here to go from APU to the engine. We will switch the flight ground switch
Unlocking gear.
to ground. Put the start switches on ignition.
Tow truck disconnected. Light has been removed.
Engine generators on the bus. APU is now off the bus. We will shut off the APU because it's making noise, and I'm tired of listening to that. You probably are tired of trying to hear my voice over it. That will make a little better situation for us. Let's dial
Left
in
is clear. Right is clear.
5 degrees of flaps. Get our tram tabs set up correctly according to the chart for our weight. No anti-ice is required here, so we're pretty much set up to go, which is pretty good timing. Let's take a look at our wing walker. He just turned his back on us. That means we're done. Take a look at the FCDU. It transmits a flight update to say we're started, and it puts us on the clock. About 50 minutes is what's going to count down as we approach our destination airport, and that's where we don't want to be left. So I'm going to dismiss that for the moment and get permission to taxi.
Ground, Piedmont 12 is with you at 23, ready for taxi.
Piedmont 12, ground, taxi 2, runway 36, right, and hold short.
Alright, that sounds good to
Taxi
me.
2, runway 36, right, and hold short. Piedmont 12, Aircom. Got it.
We're going to go around this guy who's standing there looking at us kind of dumb. we're going to try to avoid that dash 8 over there. So we're not going to go that way. We'll go, we may. Let's go this way. Radar contact does not provide ground control. So pilots are on their own to get to the runway. I do not have collision avoidance turned off. So therefore, if I hit something, it's going to be bad news. So for my career and for everything, particularly for this video, because it'd be extremely embarrassing. So what I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to try to maneuver.
Ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention as we display the safety features and procedures of the aircraft. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please remain in your seats with your seatbelts fastened and your seats in the upright and locked position. In case of a drop in cabin pressure, breathing masks will drop from the area above your seat and should be placed over your nose and mouth. If there is smoke in the aircraft during any evacuation, the walkway emergency lights will lead the way to the exits, which are located here and there. In the case of an extreme emergency landing, you will be instructed to get into the brace position, which is executed by placing your head between your knees with your hands over your head. In order to avoid interfering with the aircraft's navigational equipment, we ask that you turn off all portable electronic devices until instructed otherwise. We'd like to thank you for paying attention during this brief presentation.
Alright, Heidi has done the safety briefing. I like to monitor that. It's an option. You don't have to listen to her if you don't turn on the intercom option. Then her voice will be very faint behind the door, but I like to listen to it, make sure everything's going okay back there. Part of my policy of trying to monitor things. If radar contact provided ground control, then this would be a realistic taxi. As it was, me dodging between these airliners is not even remotely realistic, but it's a limitation of the software that we're using. Generally speaking, although that's a weakness of radar contact, as we'll see on this flight, it provides a lot of realism that the Microsoft default ATC does not provide. There are other ATC solutions out there. I just happen to use radar contact. I'm familiar with it. Yet, like everything, has its drawbacks. We're going to be taxiing down to runway 36 left. While we're taxiing, there's no reason not to do some routine stuff. We're going to select an option to have Travis, our first officer, manage the seatbelts for me, and he's going
I'll
to
handle
give
smoking and seatbelt signs, so you don't have to worry about them.
Thank you, Travis. I knew you would ask you for it. I will also have him give a welcome message to our passengers, so they'll feel like we're actually paying attention
This
to
is your
them.
first officer speaking. From up in the cockpit, we'd like to welcome everyone on board for our flight. Not anticipating any problems and expect to be arriving on time, but if something comes up, we'll let you know about it. For now, please carefully follow all instructions from your cabin crew, and let's all look forward to a smooth ride. We should be ready for takeoff soon.
Alright, it's always a good idea to keep communications with your passengers to let them know that the flight crew is paying some attention to them. It matters. It will matter to your score. It will tend to favorably dispose the passengers toward you so that they might be a little more forgiving if you screw something up. It's not a guarantee. It's just helpful, and it's good professional procedure to do that. You're an FSCaptain. We have our first officer do that for us. Now, the reason we didn't choose, we were assigned runway 36R, but it said the standard runway in use here is 36 left. That means Microsoft will be routing most of their traffic to 36 left. So what we definitely want to do is go to whatever runway they're not routing everything towards, and it will be the runway least in use. That should be 36 right. I have run into some really odd AI situations at these runways where airplanes just sit there and won't get out of the way. If that happens, I will use the traffic zapper of FSUIPC to knock them out of my way. Again, not realistic, but we're overcoming a flight simulator bug there. Let's hope that that doesn't happen to us. At the moment, it looks pretty clear down here at the end of runway 36 right, and hopefully we'll get on out of here. If not, we'll be telling the passengers that we'll be waiting a while, and we will wait however long is necessary. You may say, oh my god, that'll ruin your on-time score, but FSCaptain is aware of air traffic control delays. If you have long delays...
Piedmont 12, monitor tower 118.1.
Monitor tower 118.1, Piedmont 12.
If you have long delays at the airport on the ground, or you are put into a holding pattern by radar contact or any other reason, FSCaptain will detect that, and he will give you a free ETE revision so that we can go ahead and make a revision in flight without it affecting our score. Because it's not really fair to penalize you for delays that are caused by air traffic control. So I'm not really worried if we get stuck behind a long line, but it looks like we're empty over here, and that makes my heart leap with joy. We'll get right on out of here. It'll also make my passengers happy, so we're going to close out. We don't need to worry about FSCaptain from now until we get up to altitude. We will close this down. The only thing we need to do at this point is alert our flight crew when we are cleared for takeoff. So we will do that. I have a tendency to forget that. I have a complaint in my record about forgetting that, and I'm trying to correct that by never forgetting anything like that again. So.
Piedmont 12 tower, runway 36. Right, taxi into position and hold.
Isn't that lovely?
Taxi into position and hold. Runway 36. Right, roger, Piedmont 12.
That means we're cleared, so we'll go ahead and flip the no smoking sign by using the control right bracket, which is a FSCaptain shortcut key for the no smoking sign.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has advised that we are now cleared for takeoff.
And always listen to make sure that Heidi is telling, or whoever the flight attendant is, it's usually Heidi, is telling the PAX that we're cleared for takeoff. That means she picked up the signal, and they've been properly alerted, so no complaints about that. Here we are. We're ready to go. I used that key twice.
Piedmont 12, winds 360 at 20, leaving 1,700, fly heading 020, runway 36, right, cleared for takeoff. Leaving 1,700, fly heading 020, cleared for takeoff, Piedmont 12.
Alright, they're throwing a little wrinkle at us. That's okay, we can handle it. I dialed in that to my heading to remind me. But we're going to be on hand flying here for a while until we give control to the autopilot. We are off. We want to keep those EPRs down. I have a tendency to get a little excited about those. Right here, I've now got them on the proper power
80
setting.
knots.
Got quite a crosswind we're going into. I mean a headwind, not a crosswind.
V1. Rotate. V2.
Wheels off, gear up. Leaving 1500, we're supposed to wrap it on around to 020. We'll do that. We'll fly runway heading up to 1500, which won't be very long because we're going up fast. Doing a little trimming. We're hand flying at this point. We're cutting back a little on the throttle so we don't get over the 250 knots. Looking for that 1500, and then we'll switch it around. 2500 to 3000 is what I want here. There's our 1500. We'll roll it around to 020 as instructed by
Piedmont 12, contact departure. Over to departure. Departure, Piedmont 12 is with you, leaving 2,000 for 6,000. Piedmont 12, departure, radar contact, flight heading 095, climb and maintain 15,000.
Alright, we're clear.
Flight heading 095, climb and maintain 15,000, Piedmont 12.
Alright, so we will go ahead and fly to 095, which is approximately the course that we're going to be flying to this Angeles VOR. We're going to be monitoring our speed. We want to be flying about 240 knots. So that when we get above 10,000, we can go ahead and accelerate to past that to pick up some speed. They've cleared us up to 15,000. I'm going to change the altitude alerter as soon as I get a chance to do that, and that will be shortly because as soon as I'm established at 095, I'm going to hand control over to the Xperia 77 autopilot and let it sort of control what's going on here. Let's roll out approximately where we want to be. Get our wings level. The right vertical speed. And we'll go ahead and click the paddles and give control to the autopilot. Kind of, as it is wont to do, has us in a little bit of a bank. We're going to go and tell it to stop that and fly a particular heading. A heading of 095, so it will correct that for us. Our speed is still looking good. Our flaps are up. You will notice that Trav reminded me to check the flaps. I forgot to retract the flaps in all the excitement of having to do the somewhat unusual turn to 020. Our speed is a little bit low, and that's reminding me to change the altitude alerter to the altitude we're cleared to, which is 150. So I'm setting that up. We are not talking, we're not doing anything with FSCaptain. This is a very busy time in the cockpit. We are not required to do anything in terms of communicating with dispatch or the flight crew or the cabin crew or the packs or anything. That's this is all being taken care of for us as we go up. What we have to do is fly this airplane in such a way that we don't disturb the passengers and get where we want to.
Piedmont 12, heading 100.
Very safe.
100, Piedmont 12.
They've given us a slight course correction, and we've just picked up the signal from the Sandhills VOR, and we are dead on course. Flying straight to it along the course that we expect to be, and we're happy about that. It's always nice to do this radio navigation properly, and you don't just click a button and say LNAV, VNAV,
Ladies
and let
and
me.
gentlemen, we are climbing towards our cruise altitude. Please remain seated and keep your seatbelts fastened until the seatbelt sign is turned off.
In the 737-200, as implemented by MilViz very historically, the LNAV and VNAV is mainly your gray matter inside your head. We are above 10,000. We can accelerate, which means I'm going to be nose down a little bit. Let us speed up. Give us a little more throttle.
It is now safe to use your portable electronic device.
The only VNAV function we have on the Sperry 77 is an altitude hold, and we'll be using that once we get up to our final altitude of 17,000 feet, which we will not be at very long. I assure you, we'll be descending toward Raleigh pretty quickly. We're going to be using a very careful procedure to do that because we don't want this airplane to make abrupt movements, and particularly don't want to do an abrupt nose down. What that does is it creates negative G's, and negative G's make those packs feel like the airplane is falling out of the sky, and the sensitive ones may very well write a letter of complaint to or mention something to the agent at the gate. We don't want any of that to happen.
Piedmont 12, contact Atlanta Center 133.15.
It will reflect that.
Atlanta Center 133.15.
Professional skills and reduce
Atlanta Center Piedmont 12 is with you, leaving 12,400 for 15,000. Piedmont 12, Atlanta Center, roger, climb and maintain 17,000 at or above 14,000 clear, direct Sierra Delta Zulu. Climb and maintain 17,000 at or above 14,000, direct Sierra Delta Zulu, Piedmont 12.
Alright, we're cleared up to our cruising altitude now of 1,000 feet. And that's very good. That's below transition altitude. We don't have to worry about setting a standard pressure. We'll just keep it on whatever they say the altimeter is. And we should be up there pretty soon. Like I say, we'll be very careful about how we level off. Once we level off, we have a few activities that we will need to do with FSCaptain. We'll need to tell our dispatch that we're at top of climb. I just heard a little ding. I can take a look up here on the thing and see that our first officer.
The seatbelt sign has been turned off, and you are free to get up and run about the cabin. However, we encourage you to remain seated with your belt fastened at all times in case of unexpected turbulence.
As we can see, our first officer, we asked him to manage the seatbelt signs. He sees that we're in smooth air and we're got some altitude. He's turned off the seatbelt sign. So the packs will be happy. You can let him manage it, you can do it yourself, but don't mismanagement if you leave it on when you shouldn't for long periods of time. Or have it off when you should have it on in turbulent air. Once again, you will get complaints. Our altitude alerter tells us we're getting close. We're going to gently bring that nose down. We would like to be around 1,000 feet per minute as we approach the altitude for cruising. That's so when we click on the altitude halt, it will very gently bring this airplane down into its level off, and the backs will not feel any negative G's. We are at 17,000. We will click the Spirit 77 altitude halt, and hopefully we will get a gentle drop. I don't think that's enough to hurt us. We will level us off, and we're at altitude. Once we get to altitude, the only thing we have to do with FSCaptain is to tell dispatch that we are at top of climb. So we do that by bringing up the FCDU. We can see that we're in climb mode. 34 minutes until arrival. Go to climb and click on top of climb. The talk report gets transmitted, and dispatch is aware that we have reached our cruising altitude. Meanwhile, I'm going to back off on the throttle a little bit, because delightfully for me, it is projecting, it knows we are in cruise flight, and it's projecting us arriving 1 minute early. That is just fine with me. I like a little cushion time. I don't mind it saying a couple of minutes early. What that means is a couple of minutes earlier than our early arrival window. I can tell you from experience that unexpected things will happen, or rather expected things will happen, and our little time cushion will evaporate. Air traffic control, traffic will delay us at our arrival airport and get us back toward what we are projecting. While I'm up here at cruise for a couple of minutes, I have a chance to talk about some of the features of the FCDU that you can use to help you out. One is called the progress screen, which is access for the progress key, or this little thing, like. And here you can find a couple of very interesting numbers. The ETE is the planned remaining time until we get to the gate, and this is the estimated time until we get to the gate based on our current speed and weather conditions. So we're well ahead of time right now. We should be getting there in things in 21 minutes. We plan 30 minutes.
Piedmont 12 descended by suspicion with date 15000. You can expect, I say can expect clearance to cross 40 miles from Romeo Delta uniform at 1,250 knots.
Discretion to 15,000. Expect 1,250 knots. Piedmont 12.
See, we're already descending. I knew we wouldn't be up here very long. That's why we don't do any pack service on these flights. They are really up and down, so we'll throttle back. We have pilot discretion, so we're going to do a kind of a gentle 1,000 per minute descent to 15,000 feet. And then we're going to be getting a clearance and a crossing restriction up here pretty shortly, but in the meantime we can look a little bit at the FCDU and see how we can do weather. If you press the WX key here, you will go to the weather thing. You can select your destination, your alternate, your departure airport, or any airport in the world by line selecting it up here. I typically look at my destination and see if things have changed. This is the most recent weather. I get a VTAR for Raleigh. In fact, everything's pretty much
cross 40 miles from Romeo Delta uniform at 1,250 knots.
Cross 40 miles from Romeo Delta uniform at 1,250 knots. Piedmont 12.
Alright, so we've been cleared down to 11,000 feet, and we need to be down to 11,000 feet by the time we get 40 miles out from the RDU VOR. We don't even have the RDU VOR tuned yet. We're still looking to get to the Sandhills VOR. What we're going to do is we're going to get...
Piedmont 12, contact Washington Center 135.2. We'll see you later.
Washington Center on 135.2. Washington Center, Piedmont 12 is with you, leaving 15,400 with a clearance to 1,000.
Piedmont 12, Washington Center, roger.
That guy never pronounces Piedmont right, he calls it Weidman. I think he's of German ancestry. At any rate, we're going to cross the Sandhills VOR as planned, and then we're going to turn to a course of approximately 055 or 060, and that will bring us up towards the Raleigh VOR. At that point, we will tune the Raleigh VOR, see how far we are. Hopefully we will be pretty close to 11,000 feet. We shouldn't have a problem meeting that crossing restriction based on our current altitude and our rate of descent and the number of miles we have to go. We have about 7 more miles to go to Sand Hills VOR before we turn toward Raleigh. We should be just fine on that. Shouldn't need to do very much. Going a little fast. They want me to slow down to 250 knots when I get down to 11,000 feet. That again shouldn't be a problem when we level off. I'm gonna increase our rate of descent just a little bit here. And we are ever so slightly off course, or off course. At about 4.8 miles out. We're getting some wonky navigation readings because we're so close to the Sand Hills VOR. We'll give this another mile or so, and then we'll go ahead and turn to the left and line up with the Raleigh VOR. We'll go ahead and tune that on our radio. That is 117.8. And we will flip our Corsair around what we think we're going to be flying, which is about 055. And it looks like that's going to be good, so we're going to go ahead and dial that into our heading select, and the 737 will very loyally and very correctly start spinning around with that heading. It does look like we're going to be a little bit off. We're going to correct to the left a little bit to get on that course. We are 54 miles out from the Raleigh VOR. Our crossing restriction is 40 miles. We only have 2,000 more feet to descend, so there's no need to rush things. We'll easily level off very gently and smoothly for our packs, and then we'll let the speed decline to the 250 knots that they ask me to be flying. We need to go ahead and tell, I've forgotten, we can do it late, better late than never. We can tell dispatch that we're at top of descent. I should have done that as soon as we were cleared down, but I was talking to you and was distracted, so that's what I'll plead if they complain. They don't really know my altitude at the moment. They only want to know approximately, so yes, we are
Washington Center, Piedmont 12, needs to leave the frequency to get weather. Piedmont 12, report back up with 4 minutes. Raleigh, Durham, local ATIS information. Victor, winds 360 at 20, visibility, sky clear, temperature 4, dew point -3, altimeter 3036, landing and departing, runway 5 left. Advise approach, you have information, Victor.
All right.
Washington Center, Piedmont 12, back up.
That's good news for us.
12, roger, thank you.
Because we're about flying at a 050 heading, and so we'll be, unless they change the runway on us, it's been known to happen, we will get probably a straight in clearance. We won't have to do any vectoring or maneuvering out here, and that always delays us. Our ETA is 26 minutes planned until we pull up to the gate. Actually, I'm not worried about anything. We are calculated to be on time within our time window, as it says. Now you look at progress, it's estimating us at 18 minutes, 26 minutes is the ETE. We're in excellent shape. We can even stand a little taxi time and further delays on the airport without a whole lot of problem for our arrival time, and therefore our score. I need to shut up and level off before ATC barks at me. In fact, I'm going to let the 737 fly back up to 11,000 feet. Busted. Didn't quite bust. A bust is 300 feet. But I could have, running my mouth, I could have busted that altitude. I did not. Saved myself in the last second. Alright. Obsessing over time is something that will get you in trouble, and yet it is
12,
so
contact, approach, 128.3.
tempting.
Approach on 128.3.
Obsess over the timing. You begin to understand.
Approach Piedmont 12 is with you at 1000 with Victor.
The
Piedmont
pressure.
12, approach. Expect vectors to the runway 5 left.
You begin to
Runway
expect,
5 left, Piedmont 12.
begin to understand the pressure the pilots are under to meet schedules and yet be safe and pay attention to everything. It's very easy to lose track and obsess over that timing, like I just did, almost busting altitude. 5 left is
Piedmont 12, descend and maintain 7,000. Descend and maintain 7,000, Piedmont 12.
and keep you on your toes here on these short flights. We will begin our descent. Throttle back, nose gently down. And we're headed for 7,000, which interestingly is below the 10,000 feet, so we have to worry about our 250 knots. We use a little speed brake to slow down. Yeah, it's very tempting to get distracted by various things. All right, according to our charts here, the ILS for 5 left is 109.1. Let's dial that into our
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned on the seatbelt sign. Please refasten your seatbelt.
Trav is managing the signs for us, making sure that our passengers are melted in. We are below the 250 knots. We are headed down to 7,000 feet rather rapidly at a sort of descent. Break that a little bit. Our speed is good. We'll turn on some landing lights. Look at our descent checklist. We need to set our speed bugs. I will do a very quick look at that and find that we're going to be landing around 100,000. So adjust our speed bugs down a little bit to the correct numbers for our approach speed. I've been riding the speed brake there to keep our
Piedmont 12, approach 23 miles from the marker, fly heading 055, maintain 2,300 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS, runway 5 left, approach.
All right.
Fly heading 055, maintain 2,300, cleared ILS, runway 5 left, approach Piedmont 12.
Gonna put some flaps in here, flaps 5. And we're going to watch our speed. We do not want to get too fast. If we do, they will park at us. They have cleared us on down to 2,300 and to pick up the ILS for runway 5 left. So we'll be doing it. We're actually on the ILS. We have it dialed into our radio. We're going to be doing a slight left turn. We're going to pick up that beat. The roar you hear in the background, the gentle roar, is the speed brakes that are holding our speed reasonable. We have just picked it up, and so we're going to straighten this thing out so that we fly directly toward the runway. We do not have a glide slope yet, so we cannot click on any automatic approach. So we'll be manually adjusting our speed. This is good news for us. Good news for us. You'll notice that since we happen to be aligned with the runway, because we came right off that VOR that points us directly toward it, that radar contact didn't send us out wide and then bring us back in. It says, okay, you're lined up. We're going to send you right straight on in. And this is a good thing for us because it helps our timing. Speaking of timing, take a look. 21 minutes projected on time. So we're doing fine there. We haven't done anything to upset our passengers. We haven't done anything to upset ATC. We're looking like we're on time. This is we're hoping for a good score from this flight to help the old career out. But you can't get complacent. If you do, trouble awaits. It's very easy to, on these clear, bright days when you can see for miles and everything seems to be going smooth, it'd be very easy to become complacent in the cockpit and just, oh, it's routine, do this, do that, and pretty soon you're in a situation that's not routine at all. Anytime you're near the ground, you can hit a bird. That can happen in FSCaptain. If we were to have a cabin emergency right now, nothing would change. Somebody have a heart attack in the back, we could just fly it on to the airport anyway, so we wouldn't have to divert, we wouldn't have to declare an emergency. We could, we probably should declare an emergency. That would help get traffic out of our way. We have just picked up the glide slope. Excellent. We're going to be leveling off at 2,300. Let's break our glide a little bit here so that we get that very gently. So in reality, we're past all the things now. If something like that, like say smoke in the cabin or a heart attack or something like that, or mechanical problems, engine failure happened while we were en route, We could divert to an alternate airport. We could declare an emergency through our dispatch office and through radar contact, and it would take care of that emergency.
2,500.
For us.
Piedmont 12, traffic 1 to 2 o'clock, 5 miles, northeastbound southwest, 737 at 3,000.
Yeah, somebody
Piedmont
flying.
12.
Somebody else flying into to Raleigh. All right, we're almost down 2,300. We'll be leveling off there, and we are ready. Once we get leveled off here, we're ready to hand this baby over to the auto approach function of the Sperry 77. We should fly us on into the airport down to me, but I never trust this as instrumentation. I will be watching it. I have seen it do some pretty weird things at times, so I will flip the 77 over to auto approach mode. It'll make some gentle corrections, and it should fly us on down to runway 5 left. Speed looks good. Everything looks good. Timing is good. This is a darn boring flight, unless we hit some kind of crazy bird or engine blows up. And I don't say those things to imply that they happen often. I've had a career.
Piedmont 12, reduce speed not to exceed 210 knots.
All right.
210 knots, Piedmont 12.
I acknowledge I was getting a little fast there. He's probably got some traffic up there. He's trying to land before I get there too. So use my speed brake. It's a useful thing to be able to slow down. I just heard a ping. That little sound tells me that a message has arrived on my FCDU from dispatch. And we can see the message light lit. Press the message key to find out what they're saying, and what they're saying is pretty much what I expect. Cleared approach to RDU Airport. Expect gate A22. Wind is 320 at 3 knots. Runways are in good shape. So that's our company's authorization for us to go ahead and land. That doesn't mean ATC's authorized, it means the company is okay with it. They've given us some useful information. They've said the runways are good.
Piedmont 12, traffic 1 to 2 o'clock, 2 miles, northeastbound southwest, 737 at 2,000.
All right.
Piedmont 12.
He's underneath us, but not too far. There he is, right there. We'll keep an eye on him. He's headed for a landing on 5 right, probably. We'll keep an eye on him. We don't have a TCAS in this 737, so we will use our eyeballs. If he is headed in front of us, doesn't look like he's doing that, but I'm definitely going to be watching him. I don't mean to imply that those emergencies happen all the time. They're pretty darn rare, but when they do, everything's radar contact will support you, FSCaptain will support you, and if you succeed in landing in an emergency situation, then your score will be greatly enhanced by that. It's a kind of a real feather in your cap to land in an emergency. I think I've got enough time to pop this up and show you the emergency declaration, which is very simple. You just hit the emergency key and press proceed, and the flight will be canceled, and then the FCDU will put you into emergency mode and monitor your emergency procedures. I'm not going to talk anymore. We're going to have to land this plane. I do not want to screw this up. I'm going to give us flaps 10. And pay attention to flying. I might mention a few things. We are hitting the glide slope now, so it is time to go over here.
Piedmont 12, contact tower 119.3. Tower 119.3.
Yep, this is Raleigh Airport.
Tower Piedmont 12, 5 mile, final runway 5 left. Piedmont 12, tower runway 5 left, wind 360 at 20. Roger, Piedmont 12.
The only problem I've got right now is I'm pretty darn fast. And I'm getting a little turbulence while I'm doing this. I'm using my speed brake to slow down to more reasonable approach speed. Dial in flaps 25.
Piedmont 12, runway 5 left, clear to land. Clear to land, Piedmont 12.
Clear to land. We're a little under the glide path. We're corrected for that. The speed is getting where we want it to be. Seeing a few little glitches in the airspeed. That's turbulence out here. Flaps 30. Autopilot off. We're going to fly the rest of the way. That's me adjusting those sounds, or the
1,000.
trim being adjusted. I usually take off the autopilot at 1,000 feet. And our company policy requires that we be in a stable approach at the 1,000 foot gate. We're stable. Good speed, good altitude, flap set, gear down, 3 ring. Everything appears to be okay. We're getting a little wind kicking us around up here, but that's not unusual. It can happen. We'll just glide her on down and land. We should have plenty of time once we land to find our gate and land on it. This is all automatic. There is obviously no auto land here. This is all manual, I should say.
500.
The altitude callouts are provided by FSCaptain for
400.
those that don't have them. They're very useful, especially for these big airliners.
$300. 200. 100.
All right. Coming down
50.
the line.
40. 30. 20. 10.
We get one wheel before the other, but hopefully it wasn't too bad. Reversers. Keep it on the runway here, Captain. I did not hear a compliment for my landing from my first officer. That means I did not land
80
nicely
knots.
enough to get a nice landing compliment from the package.
60 knots.
You don't always do that, but sometimes
Piedmont
they
12,
do.
turn off for the next high speed and hold. Contact ground 121.9er. 1 runway is clear. Ground on 121.9er.
But that's okay. I get a lot of nice landings. I think about 40% of my flights are nice landings. Not this time.
Ground Piedmont 12 at Alpha 7. Piedmont 12, ground, taxi to the ramp. Taxi to the
Ladies
ramp,
and
roger,
gentlemen, we have
Piedmont
arrived at our
12.
destination. On behalf of the captain and crew, we'd like to thank you for flying with us this time, and we hope that you will join us again soon.
We have a gate change. We are to proceed to gate A12. We had 22 before. We will acknowledge that message. And we will tell GSX that we are headed for gate, what did it say, A12? It says it's occupied. We make it another gate change. So, for the moment, let's don't say anything to GSX. Let's just taxi over there and see if they will reassign the gates to us. That's on the other side of the airport, the A terminal. Fortunately, we have plenty of time. Our ETE is now 11 minutes, so we have 11 minutes, actually longer,
Check
to
the flaps.
get to the other side of the airport. And Trav reminds me to get the flaps up. Once again, it's a little distracting to run my mouth for this video. Maybe more than a little, but that's okay. We have to work our way to the other side of the airport. The sun glare is pretty bad. So we'll just kind of maneuver our way over there. Apologize for the flipping around of the view. I tend to want to see where I'm going, make sure I'm not going to hit anything. Like I say, my collision detection is on. That's our ambient music that we usually use, standard with FSCaptain for landing to make our passengers feel like fabulous flight. They're happy to be on the ground. I'm happy to be on the ground. No mishaps, no weirdness, no bugs. Keep looking over here to make sure we make the correct turn. I don't know what's headed toward us. Looks like another airplane, but we're going to turn out of his way before we get there. FSX says gate A12 is still occupied. We have not received any notification that A12 is not our assigned gate. That could be a bug in FSCaptain. We'll see if they change that. If we don't, then we have a way of handling that. We'll make them change it. Since we have extra time, we can do that without being late. We have several ways of handling it, actually. There are a lot of airplanes parked along here on the terminal side of the Raleigh Airport. I think we're going to take a look and see if that's truly occupied. I'm sure it is. I'm sure that GSX knows what he's talking about. What I don't know is why FSCaptain doesn't recognize that there's an airplane in that gate. And that's something we'll have to investigate for our beta testing before we can get this out. Now I'm going to stop along here. Aha! Gate change. They finally recognized that we had a problem and they switched that to gate 3. So now we have the interesting task of finding gate 3 and spinning around here. Passengers have got to be wondering what I'm doing here. Sorry folks, I am not responsible for this gate confusion. Let's see what GSX says. It says that gate 3 is completely open. And guess what? I'm going to request a follow me car. Since I have time to do so. I have 6 minutes, actually 11 minutes, counting the 5 before I'm late. And it should be no problem for a follow me truck to show up here and lead me to gate 3, because I'm not sure where that is. I knew where gate A12 was. I know where the gates are for the A series here over here, but I'm not sure where gate 3 is. And instead of wandering around the airport like a lost person and further convincing the PAX that I have no brain whatsoever, I'm going to go up here and meet our follow me car and let him lead me. And here he comes. We may not drive recklessly, but this guy in this follow me car has been known to do some pretty weird things. But there he is. We got a problem with our Learjet coming down here. That's why I'm trying to stay out of his way. He will probably not run into us. He'll probably stop and let us go by. We'll go around him. No telling what the follow me car will do. It appears to me. Yeah, it stopped waiting for me. You'll probably get to see it ghost its way right on through that airplane. Yes, it indeed, as if it wasn't there. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a simulator and is not real life. Although it sometimes appears to be real life. Alright, once again, due to the lack of ground control of all these various vehicles, we run into all these kinds of bizarre ground conflicts that we have to resolve ourselves as pilots and drivers, instead of having it sorted out by an intelligent ground controller, ATC-wise. That's one thing the Microsoft default ATC does fairly well. As far as it's concerned, we're a rogue airplane taxiing around their airport, and they're trying to keep the other ones from running into us. But we're not under their control, we're not obeying their commands, or they don't know about us. And we can't do anything about that. We're following our little follow me club. And we have 3 minutes until perfect arrival time. I don't think it's going to take us about 3 minutes to get to this gate, so we're going to be in great shape. Timing wise. Yeah, I see. You're going to turn. I get it. Don't let me slow this airplane down. It doesn't start up as fast as your truck does. By the time we get there, the PAX will be tired of listening to this music, I can tell you that. Although the music playing system is liable to switch to another selection here shortly. Possibly a calmer one. I already see where he's leading me. But we'll let him do his thing. See a Southwest 737 sitting there waiting for somebody to land. By the way, these little glitches of motion for the various vehicles are only because of the recording software that I'm using to record this video. When I normally do Flight Simulator, this all the motion of these vehicles is completely smooth and not jerky at all. Only if the weather is terrible, I know at a huge airport will the frame rate get down low enough for me to have to worry about seeing those kinds of slightly unnatural movements. Maybe more than slightly. Look at our timing. We're 1 minute off, and here we are. Here's our loyal Piedmont ground crew, waiting to unload and push us back for our next destination. All I've got to do is pull in there and keep running over somebody. Which I will do very carefully. I'm going to dismiss the FCDU for a moment. Whoa, 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 whoa. He's telling me to slow down, and he's right. Okay. That was a bad timing on dismissing the FCDU. Should have just left it there. Alright. We're headed in properly. We're good. Alright, what we need to do right now is we need to start up our APU. I normally do that when I exit the runway. The reason we want to start up the APU and connect the jack port here so our passengers don't fall out of the airplane is so that we have some electrical power when we shut down these engines, which we're going to be doing here very shortly. Able to switch it on the bus, get some APU electrical power on there. We take a look at the FCDU, and it tells us shut down all engines. We're assigned gate 3. We've arrived at gate 3, ETE 0. That's perfect timing. We have our APU up, so we turn off fuel to our two JT8D engines, and electrical power stays on the bus because of the APU. Jet port is just about connected. We go here. We don't want to click on proceed until this is connected to our plane because the passengers will start exiting when we do. I can hear them back there in the back right now, clamoring all around. They're getting excited. They want to leave. They can't wait to get there to Raleigh. And we're going to let them go here in just a second. Proceed! Flight update transmitted to our dispatch score. We made a score of 92, which is quite a good score. Average is 85. 100 is excellent. The flight attendants are opening the door and telling the passengers they can get the heck on out of here. And they can't wait. Look, they're already stampeding out. We've done excellent so far. Our next leg will be to Richmond. I said this was a multi-leg flight. And so that's going to be our next leg. Now, we've spent enough time on this video, and I don't want to bore you with another flight. It's going to be basically a repeat of the last one. Unless some crazy thing happens to us, we will try to be on time and be professional. We'll fly from Raleigh to Richmond. Then we will turn around and do the same thing and fly from Richmond to Norfolk, Virginia. And that will end our Piedmont 3-leg flight for today. I began to think that there was a bug in not changing the gate, but he finally got around to it. It was a little slow, and he finally recognized that the gate was occupied, and rerouted me to yet a third gate here at the Raleigh Airport. Pretty soon, all the passengers that are going to leave here at Raleigh will have left, and we will be able to proceed with the planning or not the planning's already been done back in part 1 of the video. We set up all 3 legs ahead of time. We will advance our FCDU to the next stage of the flight, and then I'll be saying goodbye, and we'll just have to imagine me flying from Raleigh to Richmond, and then from Richmond out to Norfolk, landing in the dark out there on the beach area, that area, resort area, naval base, and ending the flight. I've really enjoyed doing this for you. It's been more fun than I thought it would be. It's worked out pretty well. I'm happy with my performance, happy with the score, happy with the software. We didn't get too many flight simulator weirdness, too much flight simulator weirdness. I've seen much worse. And so here they are. Come on, guys, get done. I know some of you are staying on here to proceed up to Richmond and up to Virginia, so pretty soon it'll release me to continue, and I can say goodbye for good for you here. Music is pretty loud too. I should adjust the sound settings. Alright, about 50 people are staying on board. They're not even leaving while we do our quick 20-minute turnaround.
All passengers have left the plane.
Yeah, all the ones that are going to leave, Heidi. The ones that are not going to leave are still here. We did pretty well on that flight. We're on schedule, pretty much. We will proceed. Dispatch says resuming flight 12 to Richmond Airport. Scheduled departure and arrival. No cabin service. We can proceed with that. We get our review screen, and we're back. We cycled back around to the exact same procedure we used when we left Charlotte. We will go through all that, get our ATC clearances, do all that sort of thing, and it will basically be a procedural repeat of the same thing we did flying Charlotte to Raleigh, and then another one from Richmond to Norfolk. I'm not going to bore you with all that kind of stuff. We'll be doing some more FSCaptain and Flight Simulator, and maybe MilViz, or maybe we'll fly some other airplanes, maybe in Alaska. This was a lot of fun. Expect to see some more of this, and for right now I'm going to say goodbye. I really enjoyed it, and I'm happy we didn't run any bugs in the beta testing program. Bye bye, see you next time.